I've been gaming for a long time. I stopped gaming in high school, as I just created better boundaries, but I started at probably like age 10, 9, and I really liked the platform Xbox. That's what we had at home. We had Nintendo and Xbox, and I was experiencing a lot of turmoil as a fifth, sixth grader, transitioning into middle school. You have new friends, you're adjusting to your new body. Everyone around you is changing, and everyone's just they're continuing to find their people. I wasn't. I found a lot of solace in online gaming. So for me, when I stepped into this space and I finally met a friend, his name was Adam. I was 12 years old. Um, we played games like anybody else did. He was 19 years old at the time, and um, we played, like I said, Minecraft and Call of Duty. And we had a really average, normal friendship for like a year before anything bad ever happened.
Hmm. And you knew he was 19 years old, but he seemed safe, right? He was your friend, yet you didn't know him in the physical world.
You're told all about these dangers in person, and you feel like, oh, well, there's a physical space difference. Like I am safe on the game, but our friendship really started quite normal. And the red flags started coming up when I was getting bullied at school. I was really having a hard time making friends. I was dealing with a lot of acne, had a lot of social anxiety, just being a kid. I didn't like what the other kids liked, and I remember particularly having this crush on this girl, and I thought she was really cool. I thought she was pretty, um, and I'd hear all these conversations of other kids, and they would talk about how they were hooking up with their girlfriends, or they were having sex or doing all these things. So when Adam opened up about being bisexual, I was like, oh, this guy has so much knowledge about sexuality. Like, why am I not feeling like sexually attracted to this girl? So he kind of found his way into that conversation, and he really exploited it. So he started sending me pornographic content. He would send me stuff from the internet, like he wants me to like be attracted to this girl, and like he wants us to have a good relationship. And so I, at 12, 13 years old, started consuming pornography so I could feel attracted to women. Um,
Right,
so I was medicating with these videos and pictures that he was
right,
sending me from online websites like Pornhub,
right.
and to kind of fix a broken, hollow sense of sexuality. I spent a lot of time on games, and I kind of was slowly severing my relationship with my family, especially as um, my friend Adam was drawing me in. He started sending me a lot of suicide related content as he started, talking to me about his anxiety. I would wake up in the morning and play games and go to school and come home and play games and watch porn and play games. And like that was my life.
So you were now, Adam and you were having private conversations, not within the game, but in messaging and chat. Tell us about that, because a lot of parents may not understand the typical process of grooming, which typically will happen, right, where a predator, you know, built a friendship with a vulnerable child like you were. He knew that you were lonely. He knew that you were feeling bullied and that you had low self esteem and that
Yeah.
you were struggling. So he knew all this, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually you built a trusted relationship. He started telling you his story and his issues and his struggles. You felt comfortable doing the same. And then you
Yeah.
started having private offline chats where nobody else can
Mhm.
see these conversations.
Yeah, it really started on the Xbox app. So
Okay.
there was the messaging platform on Xbox, also connected to an app that you could get on your cell phone. And he would text me while I was at school, and it made sense. He'd be like, "Oh, are you going to be on the game today?" Yeah, I'll be on the game. The escalation of the self-harm content was at an all-time high, multiple times a day, bare minimum several times a week, and the pornography content was very frequent. um, I I just didn't know what to do. I was so overstimulated, and he was sending me so much self-harm content and so many threats, and he's very desperate. He's talking about how tonight's the night, like he's gonna take his life. He wants to see my body. I had never exposed my body to him, and he'd never sent me like completely sexually explicit content of himself. So this was like the climax of
Right.
of of the criminality. He was really demanding. He was really angry. I was upset. I was done with dealing with him. I was just like, I tried so hard to like be this person for you and to like be a friend to you. But, I at this point I didn't feel like we had a friendship anymore. And I felt like I was just his like honestly his accountability buddy to make sure that he didn't, he woke up the next day. Yeah, and I'm like 13 years old, like trying to
Right.
be an adult in a kid's body, and I'm navigating all these feelings. I'm so angry. And so I just start crying and I start yelling like quietly. And my parents hear and they come in the room and I do the whole like pretending I'm asleep thing that always works for kids, always. Like my mom, she like ran her hands through my hair and she like pulled my headphones out and was like, "Oh yeah, you're done." And we had a really big conversation and my parents were scared, they were confused. They saw the porn, they saw the self-harm, they saw the months and months of messages, and they had no idea. I mean, literally no clue. So they called him on my iPod or iPhone,
Oh.
and we FaceTimed. And I think the most upsetting piece of all of it was when my parents introduced themselves for the first time. He immediately knew he was in trouble. So the SRO officer talked about digital footprint and all this stuff, but we didn't really think like, oh yeah, there's going to be a creep in online that your kid's going to meet.
So you wrote a poem. You were thinking about taking your own life.
Yeah,
Things didn't get any better there. Yeah, now your drug of choice, if you will, your computer, your gaming, and the pornography and everything else is gone.
yeah.
Nobody's understanding what's happened and processing with you.
The night that I had planned to take my life, I had planned to do it. I had seen it on TV. A girl, she like slit her wrists in a bathtub, and I was like, well, I can do that. That doesn't look that bad. Um, and I was afraid, but I knew this is what was probably going to happen, and so for the first time in my whole life, I decided like, what if I just prayed about it? Like, that was like, whoa, like that's not me at all. And so I prayed and I was like, hey universe, if you see me, if you hear me, if you care about me, if you made me, or if you didn't, and if I have a purpose, like please show me. Like I don't want to leave my family behind. Like I don't want to leave my like the few friends that I did have, like I didn't want to leave them back behind. Like I didn't have hope that things would get better, but um I shot that signal flare and for the first night in multiple weeks I fell asleep with ease and I had a vision and a dream. Absolutely changed my life. Me and this guy at the small group, we were part of a community called Restoration Church, and in the Richmond area, we had a really big youth program at the time, and so him and a couple other guys had opened up about how they were feeling as well with their relationship to pornography and internet porn and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we created a group and it was on a app called Brain Buddy. Um, and it was actually the first time my parents ever found out that I was consuming porn because like it was a paid for service, but I didn't have a job at the time. I was like 14, 15 years old, probably 15. And I'm on this recovery app. It's like $15 a month. So I stole my dad's credit card. And he sees like a couple months later, he's like, I see that you're like buying porn with my credit card. He's like, you're done. And then I was like, no, like I can explain.
Right.
Um, and so I didn't think my parents expected me to be like, actually, I have a really bad dependency on pornography. The level of healing that I had experienced was exponential, and I just had to share that light with people. I did the dumb phone thing for a year and a half when I went to college, as we are going to talk about, and it was a really healing journey for me. I didn't wake up with the endless news and endless reels and TikToks and 1 million emails every day. It was a life altering year and a half for me.
And when the technology starts to rule you, you go, oops, time
Yeah.
for a digital detox.
I was trapped in the cycle of pornography, self-harm, depression, anxiety. And when you consume all of this content and you allow it to form you, you rob the world of the wonderful gift of yourself. you rob the world of the wonderful gift of you.
Mm.
Find community, whatever that looks like. Find a group that you can be vulnerable with, a friend, um, a mentor figure, and just be real. Open up and be authentic, and find safe spaces where you can really be yourself and you can come alive to who you are and who you're meant to be.